Welcome to Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet, a podcast featuring real reviews written by people who just need the world to know what they think. Between you and me, I wanted to like this podcast, but I'd give it 0 stars if I could.
Oh man, speaking of our childhood, here is my challenge, which is reviews mentioning the reviewer's childhood fears. So this first one was sent in by Andy and Lanice, actually. So they both found this review. And this is of a place in Auckland called Maldito Mendez.
Did you know Auckland has 1.6 million people living there?
Something like that, yeah. It's true. What percentage of the population was that about?
It's like approximately a third.
Right, yeah. True. Good job. You're so smart.
Shocked.
I am shocked. I'm so shocked by that.
Me too.
So this is a review of Maldito Mendez, which is, I believe, a closed. Is this a restaurant? I can't even tell what the menu is like. You can't find it because it's closed now. But yeah, it's a restaurant in Auckland, New Zealand. And here's a 4-star review. It looks like it's like a Mexican, like they have like tacos. Here we go. Back after that awful celery phase. Firstly, you need to understand I hate celery. It's not an allergy, it's a childhood fear. And the thought of Mum's vegetable soup laden with the stuff still haunts me today. Sorry, Mum. Maldito Mendez was our first favorite eating spot when it opened. We used to eat out several times a month there, but that all came to a screaming halt when they changed the chef, and suddenly every dish on the menu except the fries and the desserts seemed to have celery.
Oh my God, the kitchen door swings open and her mom is back there.
Oh my God, that's what it was.
Mom, you're the head chef?
It explains everything.
It explains everything.
Order it without the celery, you say? Not that easy. It was all through the pre-prepared salad mix that went on the tacos. It was in the black beans. It was even in my egg dish at brunch. Our visits finally stopped. Anyway, flash forward. After a delightful Yelp event at the shelter, we were seeking dinner. Let's try Maldito again, said Ryan. To my delight, the celery-flogging chef had departed, and all was back to normal.
He's been run out of town, I feel like. Everyone's like, Hunchback of Notre Dame, him out of town.
Yeah. The anti-celery brigade got to him. There were some welcoming, familiar faces still there, and the new waiter was sympathetic to my celery story, almost approving.
Yeah, because he's the new chef. You're like, fuck that old chef, am I right? I mean, yeah,
he's the server, the new server.
Oh, the new server, okay.
The new waiter.
Yeah, he was probably over the celery too, I'll be honest. But...
Yeah, right? All those free meals, everyone with celery, you know?
Oh.
I love how this came up, though. Yeah, I haven't been here in years. You know, that celery problem you all had. This waiter's like, totally remember that. Like,
trust me, we lost so much business. We've got that guy run out of town over that. By the way, I like celery. I know that doesn't matter, but it's like, and
it's a nice crunch to things.
Yeah, I feel like
I like celery.
Like, it's just such a nice additive to, and I don't say that about many vegetables, so I feel like I guess I'm just surprised, but like, you know, everybody has their own traumatic history.
One day Leona's gonna be like, I hate celery. My mom put it in everything.
I put it in everything. I maybe like, I feel like that's how I feel about carrot risotto. Okay, so like, you know,
yeah, fair.
If they put risotto in everything, I'd be probably really unhappy.
I've long given up trying to shorten the story by simply telling waiters that I'm allergic to celery. As Ryan always exclaims, no you're not, and awkwardness ensues.
Oh.
Anyway, enough about that vile weed. The menu looked great and we saw some favorites there. We both chose the same thing, the pulled pork taco. The taco went very well with a glass of rosé wine. Ryan had a Stoke Lager and the whole bill came to $49. We'll be back again and often. End of review.
Until...
the celery comes
something
back.
changes. Yeah. I wonder why that is. I wonder if that chef just like really loves celery, or if there was like a surplus, it was super cheap. Like, I don't know. It's such a strange like phenomenon that you can go to a restaurant one day and then like a year later have just celery in every dish.
No, I don't know how it worked. I don't know. Truly could just be that chef was like just loved cooking with celery and using celery in dishes and thought it was great. And I'm sure plenty of people agreed.
I mean, the texture. I put celery. I never thought about putting celery in a taco, but I feel like it could go.
I'm not going to be one to say that because I don't know anything about making tacos, but hey, I'd eat it.
I'd eat it too. I love also the partner being like, no, you're not allergic. Like, what the fuck? First of all, can you just like be a homie for a minute and like not fucking announce that I'm making up like, okay, first of all, that's a red flag. Anyway, I forget where I was even going. Except, I know. I hope they're not Facebook friends with me because my first profile picture in high school was Hillary. Yeah. It's a picture of an angry celery.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm tagged in it on Facebook too.
I'm sure you are.
So it shows up in my photos.
Yes. Oh, I see. It seems like something. It was probably the first photo of you I ever put up there.
That's probably true.
Yeah. It's the first photo of Alexander on the internet. It's a picture of Hillary. Angry celery.
I don't know if that's true, but we're going to go with it.
I'm going to go with it.
My next one's also from Andy, and this is of a forum on the, or it's a post on the bodybuilding forums, which are classic. Here we go. The first, it started off with this. Do you have any silly childhood fears that are kind of still with you? We all had silly childhood fears. Are any of these still with you in some minimal sense? Who is willing to confess? For me, I am still a little bit afraid of staring into my mirror reflection for too long on the basis that my reflection might reach through and pull me into some evil mirror dimension. I also still habitually sprint upstairs after I turn off downstairs light, and I don't stick my foot out off the bed from under the covers because a monster might grab it. LOL.
Those are all like relatable, right? I mean, I feel like we can all understand that.
Yeah.
What was the first one? The mirror. Yeah.
Staring into my mirror reflection for too long on the basis that my reflection might reach through and pull me into some evil mirror dimension.
Yeah. Okay. It got a little weird. I was nodding along and then I kind of paused when you kind of kept going. But I feel like, that thing where you stare at yourself in the mirror and your reflection changes.
Gets
like that's a very real phenomenon.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's like an actual scientific thing where your eyes are trying to create like
straighten it or like make it like
your eyes are like always looking for faces, right? And so then when you're staring at your own face for too long, it kind of starts to morph and warp.
Creepy.
Which is I was like, I can relate in that sense. I don't know about like reaching out and grabbing me, but
the next one is just this. Ghost aliens.
Oh, wait. Okay. Short and sweet. So are these responses to the original?
Yes, this is a response. This is someone else.
This is another bodybuilder.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Yeah.
There's one more response. Here we go. I will never look into a mirror in the dark. I will avoid it as much as I can. That's where ghosts live, and I would rather not see one, especially in the dark.
I love it. They're like, oh, that's where I always thought ghosts. It's like, no, that is where they live, and you can't convince me otherwise.
And like this person, I'm judging based on a very small photograph, but they look to be about 50 years old.
Oh no! I'm so sad that people are still afraid like that.
Have that fear of looking in mirrors in the dark.
At least it's not just us.
I don't blame them.
I'm afraid of windows in the dark, but I also feel like that's more of like a. I don't want to say rational fear. None of this is rational, but like I feel like it's more just based on like people looking
who's on the other side. Yeah.
But I guess now mirrors too. Like
mirrors. Okay, mirrors are freaky. I don't have any mirrors other than in my bathroom.
That's where the ghost lives.
I know.
In the bathroom.
My ghost just lives in the bathroom.
Yeah.
My next one. This is from Chelsea, and she sent in a review of a book titled In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories, re-illustrated edition, a Halloween book for kids. I can read level 2.
I love it says re-illustrated. Like, I wonder what happened the first go around.
Probably something a little offensive. I don't know. It says retold by Alvin Schwartz, pictures by Victor Rivas. So it's a newly re-illustrated. It says this classic I can read full of spooky stories is perfect for beginning readers who love a bit of a scare. So here we go. Here's a 5-star review. You say you were traumatized by this story in 4th grade? I'll take 2, please. The old neighbor kid, who was like 30 years old now, said this book traumatized her in grade school, so I hurried up and bought it to read to my grandchildren one day. I'm not saying you should buy it unless you like really creepy stories or just want to see what could possibly be so traumatic in a kid's book. End of review.
What's wrong with you?
That energy is quite...
Yikes.
Maybe a little concerning. That's such a weird, not so good energy to have.
It's so toxic. Like, what is the matter with you? And you have
like,
grandchildren that you're gonna just like push this on?
You can't wait to traumatize them?
Sheesh.
Because this person who's 30 years old has gone most of their life with this book in the back of their mind as being terrifying.
What the fuck? What is it like?
Oh man, I feel like kids don't need to be terrified. You know, like
they will
that doesn't
find
seem
a
like
way. I
exactly.
promise they'll find a way.
Life will happen.
Yeah, you don't need to force it upon them.
That's what I think too, but what do I know?
I mean, who knows?
Okay, I've got one more here. One more. It's a 4-star review. This was sent in by Stephanie. This is a review of a movie called Shadow of the Hawk, and it's a horror movie.
Are you sure? It sounds like a Civil War like reenactment or something.
You know, it kind of does. But yeah, it says a terrifying adventure into the unknown. Here we go.
That's
4
what
stars.
I call the Civil War. Sorry, that like doesn't even make sense. Just ignore me. Go on.
I kind of liked it. Okay. A thoughtful and positive take on Native American / First Nations culture and folklore, as it tells a spooky tale of a reluctant hero returning to his roots. With that said, this movie scared the poo out of me as a child. Some kids are frightened by dogs, others are afraid of snakes, yet others are scared of clowns. None of these bothered me much, but my childhood fear was masks. And the villain of Shadow of the Hawk is played by, a mask.
Oh.
So anyway, when I was 8, I spent the summer at my grandparents' house and we watched this movie on TV.
Because my grandma heard that the neighbor was traumatized by it and she said, I know just a thing. Let me go to Blockbuster real quick and ruin your life.
Exactly. Oh gosh, terrible. While their house was contemporary, stylish, and impeccably clean, there was a long hallway with a couple of 90-degree bends. Whenever I turned a corner by myself at night, I just knew the evil spirit was going to be waiting for me with that flowing hair, those vacant eyes, and mouth drawn into a permanent slurp.
Ew.
The better for devouring the souls of little boys walking alone in the dark. Forget Freddy or Jason or Pennywise. That horrible ghost bitch was the creepiest thing I would ever see on film. At least until I saw The Dark Crystal with even more hideous evil puppet nightmare fuel. Anyway, I watched it again this weekend for the first time in many years. Every time the evil spirit appeared, I chuckled to myself, longing for the simpler scares of childhood. Every once in a while, I glanced over to a photograph on my wall, taken that very summer, of me with my now departed granddaddy.
Aww.
If I could send a message to past me, I would tell him, conquer your fear and you'll be just fine. End of review.
Oh, that got so heartwarming.
I know, isn't that sweet?
I didn't see that
I thought that was a nice
coming.
finale.
I looked
Especially
at the
when
mask.
I started us off on such a rough fucking
Yeah, you really did.
Kathy trip.
You just like pushed me into a volcano, and then finally I've made my way back to the tour bus, and it's not here. It's really weird. Wow, that I did look up the mask from that movie. It does look frightening.
I didn't.
It does
I
look
should have.
frightening.
I don't know why I didn't even think to look
I
it
mean,
up. Probably because it sounded scary, and
Yeah,
I
to
thought
any-
I don't want to see.
I feel like to any 8-year-old, masks are inherently a bit scary, at least in my experience.
I mean, the movie The Mask freaked me out.
Me too. I was terrified.
Like that alone, and that like mask itself wasn't that. It's kind
No.
of creepy though.
It was a little
It's
creepy.
kinda
It's like the
creepy,
concept
but
of it
it's
was
not,
so
like,
creepy. It's
so
like hiding
creepy.
your face is creepy inherently, I think. And
Yes.
I don't know. And anything kind of uncanny valley is creepy, like a mask that sort of looks human, sort of doesn't. Like meanwhile, I'm over here. Like I played the Brave Little Toaster the other day, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna traumatize Leona. So I had to change it back to Dino Ranch. Like that's how nervous I am about traumatizing my own child. I'm
Yeah.
like, I won't even let her watch. To be fair, it was kind of troubling to watch the Brave Little Toaster in 2024. I feel it doesn't age as well as I had thought.
Yeah, I'd like to think that media geared towards children has become a little more sensitive to the fact that they're children. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's a like, oh, softening up society or some
No.
bullshit. It's like they're kids. Like
And
they
it's
don't
like,
need to be. So
again,
you
they'll
know,
find a way. The world finds a way.
the world finds a way to terrify
finds a way.
children. You're so right.
And I'm sure I'll traumatize her in many other ways. So don't worry.
Yeah.
I will put celery in her food till the day she leaves the house, and that'll do enough damage, I think.
It's like you one day you and Alyssa watched The Ring by yourselves.
Yeah.
Like you found a way to find that movie and watch it when you were too young to watch it.
Never,
And it wasn't because
left me.
your mother was like, "Oh, I
You
can't
should
wait
do
to
this." Yeah,
yeah,
I
you know,
got
like
you
to
something.
make her watch this." It's like, no, like you found a
Exactly.
way to terrify yourselves.
Or like she let me go to the swim team sleepover, and they watched The Exorcist outside, and I was like so freaked out. But like, you know, that wasn't mom being like, "Hey, I got you a cool surprise."
Yeah,
Stare at the
exactly.
TV.
Like it comes with a lot less resentment, you know? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's like
yes. No,
you have
for
no one to
sure.
blame but
For
yourself
sure.
if you're
But the
watching
carrot
that
risotto,
kind of thing. Yeah.
I still blame her for that.
That is
Um,
fair.
Alexander, I was watching Brave Little Toaster, and we got about 5 minutes in, and I was like, "This is," because Blaze hadn't seen it. I think
Yeah.
it was like definitely a staple in our house. Did the VHS tape?
Yeah.
But there was. Did you know that the blankie
I
thing?
think we talked about this.
Oh, maybe he calls he calls the teenage guy Master.
Oh,
He's like
dear,
Master's
yeah.
home, and everyone's like Master's home, and I'm like, what the fuck is
It's
this?
fucking weird,
It was
man.
so weird. I was watching it. I was like, this is super uncomfy.
I did not
Ugh.
remember that
And
part.
he's like, Master's going off to college. What will we do? It's like, I was like, what is the vibe? I can't figure this out.
Well, do you remember when we watched the movie Twister? Because Dee and I were just talking about this yesterday. So the
No.
movie Twister, we watched it when we were younger.
We did?
I watched it. Yeah, I think
Well-
Elsie made us watch it along with The Perfect Storm.
Yeah, that one I remember. That
Um,
yesterday Alexander said, we're going to watch Twisters, and I said, oh, that happened on my birthday, and he just kind of was very
Like, what happened?
blank, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't even know, but I just feel like I know that it happened on my birthday, but I think we even Googled it like we do, and I could not figure out
Yeah.
the fuck I was talking about.
I don't know, but
Anyway.
we watched Twisters in 4DX, which is the wildest experience of my life. I went in and we talked about it beforehand, and I was like, I feel like I'm going to be really underwhelmed by what 4DX is because I'd never done it before. When I tell you the chair moved, it felt like a fucking like at a amusement park. Like the way it was like
What?
bouncing around, it was crazy. And they had water spraying, they had wind with the.
Do you have to like
the
sign a
twisters were
waiver?
coming.
That might be a stupid question. I guess buying a ticket, maybe.
I think by buying a ticket, and you have to be like over 3.5 feet tall. Like there's like a height restriction because of it. Like it was not for the faint of heart, I think. You weirdly get used to it, but like the movie, like it was crazy.
Did it go the whole
to,
time?
watch
Like,
this.
was it always kind of moving?
Yes. Like even when they were like just driving around, it was
You
kind of
felt
like
like-
pleasantly like kind of floating a little bit. Oh yeah, but when
What?
they were on rougher road, it was like kind of bumping a little bit. And then there were like, you know, those massage chairs with things in the back. Like those would hit you if like there was a
What?
crash. Oh, and there was
They're
like,
like, kidney
air coming out
jab.
of the by your head. It was crazy.
Was it scary, the movie, or no?
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh no.
okay.
And everyone, it was like one of those movies, like similar to when we saw Megan, where you're like the theater's like you're all having a great
Oh yeah,
time.
this is an experience. It's like when I watched
yeah.
Get Out with a whole crowd in Los Feliz, and it was like everyone was just at the end like we all had inside jokes. Like, it's so weird. I swear to God, everyone was like kind
all
of on
movies
this.
Get Out. I'm like, okay, that one's actually kind of scary.
It
Like,
was
Twisters
scary,
is
but it was
not
almost like
anywhere like
everyone
that.
was like laughing at like whenever we all get scared, we'd all kind of like be like, haha, laugh it
Yeah.
off. And then at the end, everyone just was like clapping and cheering. And I was like, I feel like we all just experienced this together. I guess we
Yeah.
did.
That's how we all felt, and I could tell people hadn't done the 4DX either because they did like a little intro thing where they're like, welcome to 4DX, and they went through like glaciers and stuff. People were shrieking, like having fun, but like
that would have been me
shrieking.
for
And
sure.
Dee and I were like, what the
Had
fuck? This
Dee
is
done it?
crazy. No. It
Oh
was
my God. I
all
would have
new
been
to us.
so flipped out.
No, it was honestly so much fun, and like
How much was a ticket?
I'd recommend it. Well, we have like the Regal. We go see
Oh.
movies. We get the Regal like premiere thing or whatever. I don't know. I forget what it's called, but we spend like $20 a month and we see unlimited movies.
Yeah.
And if you go to 2, it's worth it.
Yeah.
So this you get it, but you have to pay an extra $7 for 4DX for us. So I don't know what the normal ticket price
So
is.
it's like a massage.
so
You paid for a
expensive in New
$7 chair massage in the kidney and like
basically.
a little bit of windswept hair.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
But like, no, it was honestly so much fun, and the movie itself was honestly great. I thought everyone was really good in it, and I just thought it was just like a really good watch, and I was so surprised because it's like Twisters. But the reason I brought this up was because the movie Twister, which I hadn't seen since I was a kid, I remember being so scary,
So
and I remember
scared.
being so terrified. And I was watching Twisters, and I was like, I don't think this was the vibe. Like, I think the vibe is so much more comedic in this one, but I don't remember. So I asked D afterwards, and we both weren't sure. So I was wondering if you remembered, because I don't know if I'd watch it now and be like, oh wait, this is kind of funny.
I'll be honest,
or if
I
I'd
don't
still
even
be
remember
scared by it.
seeing the first one. I
Oh,
mean, I'm
okay.
sure
Then
if
I
I
don't
did,
know.
I would have been deeply traumatized. I might just be blocking it out.
I think it was kind of more scary than this one, because this one was just kind of fun.
Yeah, the vibe I got from, I mean, just by bare bones, just seeing it peripherally on TikTok is like that Twister was more. The Twisters, the sequel, is more tongue in cheek a little bit, like, whereas Twister the original was like a horror movie, like a thriller,
like a more
like
serious.
scary. Yeah.
Okay, that would
But
make
I don't
sense.
know. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Again, I barely remember. I apparently saw the first one. I don't even remember, but
yeah. Well, yeah. No, I thought it was really.
Maybe that's why I need. Okay, maybe I'll watch it tonight, because I'm like, maybe that's where I heard June 4th, and that was just what stuck with me. Like, maybe in the movie they say something like,
oh, maybe.
do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I don't know where I came up with that, but I've for my whole life been like, oh, Twister happened
so
on my
weird.
birthday, and like it's not even a real thing. I don't know where I came up with that. So maybe I'll watch it tonight, and I'll make sure to sit in my chair and kind of do this.
Okay, yeah, jump around a lot. Like, it's really fun. Anyway,
I have
it
a
was
spinny
such a
chair.
silly experience. Oh yeah, just spin like crazy.
Just vomit.
Thank God they didn't do that. But
I would be so car sick. That's what you explained that to me. I was like, I think I'd be so motion sick. But
I never thought I'd be recommending Twisters to people, but it was fun, man.
Especially
I would watch
as your
it again.
8-year-old self who apparently watched it, or your 4-year-old self was like so traumatized.
The first one, yeah, it's technically a sequel, but I don't know if there's anything to do with it. Also, it's one of those movies where I'm like, glad I'm not that smart, because there are probably so many things that people who understand meteorology or math
it's probably
would be
fun
like,
if
this
you
is
don't
ridiculous.
know. Yeah.
I'm too stupid to
you
care.
can suspend disbelief. You know, it's easier for us.
Yeah. Dee knew some of the things in the math thing, and she was like, yeah, it seemed a little off. She was like, but yeah. I was like, let me have this. No, she wasn't saying anything bad. She had a great time too. We loved it. So
I can imagine her being like, that formula's wrong, and you're like, what? And there's like wind blowing. I don't know. And milk duds everywhere. I feel like I'm enjoying it more, just not even really knowing how it went.
The wind was so strong at times that like when they there was a point where they like closed the door on the tornado. Like they were like had this door open, they closed it, and it like calmed down. And you could feel, like, I felt myself calming down. It was bizarre.
Ooh,
it was such a weird
it feels
thing,
like, what's that movie or that book where they do and everyone sits in a chair and then they watch like pornos? We read it in high school.
They do what? Excuse me? Wait. This is a book?
Yeah. We read it in high school.
And they do what?
It happened on my birthday. No, just
kidding. Can you repeat the words that you said?
Yeah, they sit in these chairs in a theater type environment and they watch, like, and when there's a sex scene, they like feel it.
Huh?
This is like a book, like in 1984, some dystopian novel.
Oh.
Which everyone had Soma in it.
Oh, yeah, that was
1984. Oh, wait, yeah. Brave New World, maybe?
Brave New World. Oh, I mixed those two up. Whoops.
I do too. But one of them, I swear to God, where the one where the guy like breaks away from taking Soma and he wants to feel human emotion. And at the time I was like, yeah. And now I'm like, why? No.
Man, I forgot about that book, honestly.
I think about it
it's been a while.
So often. Anyway, whichever book it was, I feel like there was a part. And if I'm making that up,
those two and Fahrenheit 451 are just like in my brain as one collective like blob.
I mean, I think that's probably fair. But I swear to God, there was something in a theater. But I could be, again, like totally.
No, I bet you're right. You probably know.
Anyway, thank you for listening to our podcast.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were recording.
Called Beach Too Sandy Water Too Wet. We read 1-star reviews. We already did that. So thanks for being here and for listening to this wonderful lecture on pop culture, media, classic literature, etc. I hope you learned a lot, as I did, and we'll see you next week
for big old 300. Can't wait.
Oh, fuck my life.